slightly different. I just had the logo up, so let me see if I can share it with you all. Some of you may have had the chance to give us some feedback on the logo and the name over the past, well, the logo for sure the last year. The name was probably a little over a year ago by now, but this is our new name, our new look and feel. We are lining it with the Children's Mercies colors as well. And so I hope you all aren't confused as we start to call ourselves the Kansas City Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative moving forward. Let's see, is Christine? Oh, there's Christine. Hey, Christine.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you all.
We're just sharing some updates. I think most people may know each other, but we'll go ahead and just go around the room. I'm Shelley Summer, manage the Kansas City Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative. And I'm going to have Katie introduce herself first, and then Natalie. They're both members of our team, and then we'll go to you, Christine.
Hi, yeah, I'm Katie. So work with Shelley and Natalie for the Kansas City Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative, and I help to support some of our sectors of the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan, and one being the school sector. So Natalie.
Yep, basically the same thing. I'm a research associate here at Children's Mercy, and I'm not supporting this particular sector, but I like to keep up on what everyone else is doing. I think it helps me in the other sector meetings. So I am attending this one too.
And if you haven't seen Natalie yet, she's the newest member of our team. She's been with us 2 months now. Is that right, Natalie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we're excited to have her join our efforts. Christine?
I'm Christine Scherenberg, and I'm the instructional coach for the K-12 PE team in Kansas City, Kansas.
And I'm Jill Rayford with Johnson County Department of Health and Environment in the Community Health Division, and I work on safe routes to school.
And Caitlin, you're the last one.
Hey guys, my name's Caitlin. I work at Children's Mercy, and I work with Project Adam, which helps make schools heart safe in terms of being prepared for cardiac arrest.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Katie, do you mind bringing the agenda back up for us today? Okay, so you can see we want to talk a little bit about the National Bike to School Day, our implementation project proposals, and happy to have you all share any other updates that you have that you'd like the group to know. As a reminder, we do record these meetings, so for people who are not able to join us during the actual meeting, they can go back, listen to what was talked about. We can go ahead and start with National Bike to School Day. As I think both Christine and Jill, you both remember, in the past, we have helped to support Bike Month and Bike to School Day. The activities typically occur in May and October. Is that correct? Okay, so since it's the beginning of the year and we want to get a head start on this, we'd like to think about whether or not we want to support another bike to school month task force. So in the past, Jill, I think it's been you and is it Patrick that have taken the lead on this? I think Mark is the Mid-America Regional Council is the group that has housed all the information in the past on their website. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So we worked with Mark a lot with Patrick, and then last year with Bike Walk KC, it was Carl. So I'll have to get with Laura and see who she wants to assign to help. But I would love to do that again, and I'm happy to. We had kind of a smaller task force that worked on it too. We just did 2 meetings to kind of get together, but really Mark housed all the information. We just got it to them, but I think it's great. I would love to work on that again this year if everyone else wants to.
I think it's a great thing to include as part of this group. And it will help us think a little bit more broadly and across the whole year. How do we take advantage of May and October as months to promote efforts for safe routes to school, walking school bus, community events that are taking place related to walking and biking to school? How do we include additional information related to safety, update all of this from year to year? We are also interested in helping to promote all of these efforts. So we can include the information in our monthly newsletters, both for this sector, but also for our broader Kansas City Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative monthly newsletter. We want to, I think, figure out the best ways for us to connect people to the work. So we have lots of organizations that are already interested in this and do a great job of helping gather information together. I think our next step is how do we help do what you all are doing? And let me say that differently. How do we help promote what you all are doing better to families? And so I think this task force is one way that we can learn a little bit more about that.
Also, just so the group knows, I've been communicating with Patrick. He has a conflicting meeting this afternoon, so he wasn't able to attend, but Mark is meeting next week about Bike to School Month. So he'll provide me an update then, and I can share it with the group either at our next meeting or in the newsletter.
Katie, do you have, I can email them too, but do you have a date or a time of that bike month meeting? I'd like to get on that, or I can email Patrick too. I just didn't know if you had it.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Yep. I can reach out to him.
Sounds good.
That's great, Jill. And just let us know what help from us would be useful. Do you want Katie to attend the meetings for the bike month task force as well? I mean, you all are a sort of a well-oiled machine and have done, this isn't the first time you've done this. So whatever we can do to help would be great. Just let us know. Again, we like to include the information on our website and connect it to Mark's website for all of the resources there as well.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm happy to attend it if Katie wants to too. That's fine, but whatever. And then just kind of in the past for others who didn't do it before. I mean, I think Shelley, as long as we, I would like if everyone, and I can reach out to some of the other members that aren't here today, but if they send us the information, what they've got going on, gosh, I remember last year we had so many cool things going on in May. And I think there's even like bike to work, and then all the things revolving schools. And I can reach out to our Parks and Rec and see if with all the other counties, they could work out, look at their Park and Rec, like KCMO, KCK, all those too, and get all those bike related events on the Mark website. And then we can all share it out on all our social medias. But that was pretty much the plan of it. We already have and I may be jumping ahead for our, what our updates are, but if that's okay to say that now. we are working with, part of our KDOT grant that we have received. We have been working with Bike Walk KC to partner with specifically Title I schools to promote BLAST program, so the bicycle lesson and safety training. So for the spring, we are partnering with Washington Elementary. It's a Title I in Olathe. And we're also going to be working with the Lowrider Bike Club. So they're going to be one of our sponsors this year. So I'm super excited about it. And we're going to have our first meeting in February to get things rolling. So we're going to have 2 meetings, one in February and one in April for the event. And of course, the actual Bike to School date is May the 3rd. So that is what Johnson County plans are so far. So I will keep you posted.
Okay, so that's great information and a really great update. Thanks for sharing that, Jill.
Mhm.
And Christine, is there anything going on in USD 500 that you know about that we can help to promote or support in some way? You're muted, Christine.
There we go. I was going to ask Jill if I can connect Blake Hensley. I think he's the WICO. I don't know if he's safe routes, infrastructure, but we in Kansas City, Kansas, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, they changed the funding for BLAST, the pathway. And so the KDOT grant that you mentioned, I don't know where we're at on that. So I'm not sure if the BLAST programs, there was a few schools that had them this year, but it was a really big thing in the past. So I'm not sure if Blake is new, but I might follow up with him and see what the process is like. But I don't know if there's meetings where different counties get together.
So yeah, thank you for reminding me. I'll reach out to Blake too. I worked with him last year to see what he has to for Bike Month. But yeah, I mean, Nicole Brown in my office is the one who handles a lot of the grant. So but certainly have Blake email me and then I can connect if he wants like specifics on any of how we did it at Johnson County. I'm sure Nicole could answer those questions.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like we're just getting back into connecting schools with bike opportunities, and I always loved the BLAST and Earn a Bike. Were fantastic programs, and I did sit in on, and I don't know if you guys have heard of Outride. Outride had a meeting with their grant manager last week, and just to explain the grant funding that's coming up, and it just sounded like it's very open. So for places that need to fund their Earn a Bike, or they want a pump pit, like a little bike park track. I think someone on Olathe is the only place that has received an outright grant. So I'm trying to, there's not a lot going on right now with KCK. I'm just trying to figure out who I can help kind of get it rolling again.
And as we attend or host the other sector meetings, we'll also keep an eye out for other groups that might be doing these sorts of things. Everyone's already familiar with Bike Walk KC. I don't know if Buddy Pegs is also involved in promoting Bike to School Day, but they would also be another great group to get involved. And then there may be others that are interested in supporting something related to biking or walking to school for May, or even an event. So if we hear about it at the Parks and Rec meeting or any other ones, we'll try to connect both of you to what's going on, so we're coordinating a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a good reminder, Shelley, because last year Buddy Pegs paid for t-shirts for the school that I worked with. So I may reach out to them too. That's a good idea. And we could invite them to the Bike Month meeting as well. So
Yes,
That's a good reminder.
yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
You know, the other group, I'm just going to throw this out there, and they're a business, and I believe it's a franchise, but the local franchise owner for Pedigo participates in the healthcare sector work group. His name is Dan Kane. Pedigo is an electric bike company. They rent them for all kinds of fun things. Of course, you can buy one from them as well, but they're very interested in bringing that, I'm going to say, technology to different events. They might be interested in helping to figure out how they might promote walk or bike, or bike to school or work along with Bike to School Month. And I don't know if that would be like giving out coupons for people to participate. Maybe it'd be hosting an event. I don't know. But Dan Kane is the person that maybe we should, if you're not already connected to Dan, let us know and we can connect you guys to see if there's any opportunity there. I'm not sure they'd be able to sponsor anything, but they might be able to participate and just introduce people to what an e-bike is. It is a reasonable form of transportation. For some, that's a lot cheaper than a car. Now, doesn't help when it's raining or snowing, but.
Hey, Katie.
Hey,
I was just getting ready to send you the link.
I'm having technology issues. I apologize.
Oh my gosh. Shelley, can you send out Dan Kane's contact information if you have that?
Sure.
Okay, they just opened a new one of those not far from me at 135th and Metcalf. So that's a great idea. Katie, she's talking about Pedigo. Is that how you pronounce it? Kind of, it's like
Yeah.
an electric bike, new.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? We could invite them to come to Bike to
Yes.
School Day. Okay. Do you
That'd
know,
be great.
is he like a national guy or a local guy?
He's a local guy, and I don't know if he just owns one franchise or multiple. The one that I know he has is in the Brookside area. And I don't know if it's technically Brookside, but it's not far from UMKC.
Okay, well, I'll stop in the one near my house and just see who the manager is and talk with them. But that's a great idea. I love that.
Okay. Yeah, because even if it's not Dan, they might be interested in being involved because they're closer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else about promoting Bike to School Day and Bike to School Month or Bike Month? All right, well, great ideas, and I'm happy we're getting on this early because I think the sooner we get on it, the more people we can engage and the better we can promote it, especially if Bike to School Day is, would you say May 3rd, Jill? Yeah, so we'll want to get the information out in April so that we're doing a better job of promoting it for May. Okay, well, the next thing we have on our agenda is implementation proposals. I just want to make sure, is everyone on the call familiar with the fact that we have funding, a small amount of funding available for implementation projects related to the strategies and tactics for each of the sectors of the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan? I'm happy to give an update if you're not aware of it, but I don't want to take up too much time if you all know what I'm already talking about. Everybody's good. Okay. So any implementation project ideas, we have an application form, and maybe Katie can drop that either the link in the, let's see, I don't know if there's a link in the chat, but can share that with you all. It's a short application. Our intent is not to make it overly complicated, but to get enough information that we know what the project is, who the lead organization would be, what strategies from the school sector, strategies and tactics the project aligns with, a budget. We'd like to know whether it's multi-level and our levels are really related to individual behavior organizational change, built environment, and advocacy, or policy, I should say. And is it multi-sector? So as we score these project proposals, if they're multi-level and if they're cross-sectoral, they score a little bit higher, which elevates them in terms of funding opportunities. And when we say cross-sector, it's cross-sector within the sectors of the physical activity plan, and it's the information that we want is really not just which sectors might be interested, but which sectors would you be actively working with in this project proposal. We also are asking for what next steps are. So not just we'll write a report and we'll tell you all these great things. That's fantastic. But if you start a project, what are the next steps once the project is over? How is this going to align with other efforts that are already going on? Or how is this going to inform the next steps beyond the project? And again, it doesn't have to be lengthy and overly complicated. Just want to make sure that as we're identifying opportunities to move our strategies and tactics into action, that we're connecting it with things that are either already going on or have a plan for how this is going to inform us continually moving forward. I'll pause for just a second to see if anyone has any questions as I'm giving that background. Okay, a couple of other things to note related to this process. The applications are reviewed by the core work group of the physical activity plan on a quarterly basis. The next time the proposals will be reviewed is in March. That means the submission deadline to be reviewed in March is Tuesday, March 14th. Now, with that being said, the proposals are brought to the core work group by the sector leads. The proposals need to be reviewed at a sector meeting prior to being submitted. What that means is, since we don't have any for review today, the proposal needs to be brought up at the next school sector meeting, which has typically been the fourth Thursday of the month. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end of this meeting to see if we want to change the date or the time, but it doesn't mean that the proposal has to be in final form. It just means the idea needs to be brought to the group and the budget needs to be brought to the group for recommendations. One of the things we've noticed as we've been doing this is it's really easy for proposals to want to go for the full amount. And while there's nothing wrong with doing that, if there are multiple proposals from a sector, we want to ensure that we're not discouraging anyone from a project or from a submission. It may be that there are multiple projects that the group wants to move forward, and each of them would be asking for the full sector amount, which obviously we wouldn't be able to give to everyone, but maybe we do want all of them to move forward. How do we negotiate the budget to be able to do that? So one way is just deciding, and again, I'm making up this information just for the purpose of an example. Let's just say there were 3 proposals, each one wanted $10,000. The group thought they were all outstanding. Maybe it would be that each proposal would be approved or moved forward for funding somewhere in the range of like $3,000 to $3,500. Another approach would be these proposals are cross-sector, and the sector that they're hoping to partner with actually has some additional funds available. So maybe it would be that that proposal would get $3,000 from this sector and maybe the rest of the request from the sector they're hoping to partner with. So those are just some things for consideration that we will be using to guide discussion as the proposals start coming to the group. Any additional questions or thoughts for us to consider as we move through this? And keep in mind, we are new at doing this. We've not really done this before, and we've already learned a little bit from 2 applications that we've received to this point. So we're open to feedback.
I have a question. I'm working with a teacher who's kind of hoping for like a 3-sector project between sports, the school sector, and Parks and Rec. I think, did Parks and Rec combine with sports? Or
No.
okay. Okay. So I don't remember my question. Oh, when she's done with the proposal, we just look up online who the sector lead is and make sure that all 3 leads get a copy, or do I take it and start with schools because I'm helping the schools?
We can help facilitate a meeting with the other sector leads to make sure everyone's aware of the application and they don't have any additional questions.
Okay.
And can discuss potential funding opportunities from the other sectors. If that makes
So is
sense.
there like, is there, like, if I know that the next school sector meeting is roughly February 23rd, I'm trying to work back and give her a deadline to have that ready, and then meet with the other sector leads to, I guess, share it.
Well, as long as she has an idea of what she's thinking and wants to propose, we're happy to meet prior to having the application done. It doesn't have to
Okay.
be complete. Yeah, we're happy to
Okay.
meet to discuss, hey, here's some things that might inform your application. Here's some other things that we know that are going on that might help you make decisions on what to do. Might also have other connections in either one of those sectors that might be valuable for the project.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready and they're ready to meet, we can help facilitate that meeting.
Okay, then I'll just
And-
reach out. I'll figure out that out from her and then reach out to you.
Yeah, great. And we can participate in it so that we can inform the project as well.
Yeah. Thanks.
You bet. Any other questions related to implementation project proposals? Our plan is to accept applications until the funds are all accounted for, or all, I'm trying to think of the right word, but I guess spent. They wouldn't technically be spent, but they'd be allocated. As a sector, think about moving proposals forward, keep that part in mind. So for example, if all of the funds are allocated at the March meeting, that means there's no additional funds available for the rest of the year from the school sector. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, as an update for you all, especially since you brought up the sports sector, the sports sector has already allocated all of their funds. They have chosen to use the sector has chosen to use their funds to support a report from the Aspen Institute called The State of Play. So it is okay to allocate all your funds up front. It's just something to be aware of as you come up with project ideas, I guess.
For some reason, I thought that March was, I guess there was a round in December and then there was a round in March. So I didn't realize that in December they were actually, I thought they were just reviewing. So.
Oh,
didn't realize that.
reviewing, scoring, and approving. So in December, just to be completely transparent, in December, we had 2 applications that were submitted. Technically, the March the March review will include the sports sector allocation, or the sports sector application, I should say. But that sector group has already decided that's the one project they're going to move forward for funding. And that was determined by the sector, not the core work group. The core work group will just review the application and score the proposal. In December, we received a healthcare application and an early childhood application. For the healthcare application, it was to support the Just Walk program. It was a request for $1,000, and that was scored. The scoring met the application threshold. It was only for $1,000 out of the sector's $10,000, and it was approved for funding. The early childhood sector application did not meet the scoring threshold for funding, and so it was sent back to the applicant for review. And so we met with that applicant to talk about the potential updates or changes to help it meet the scoring threshold, and they are resubmitting, and it'll be reviewed again in March. So that's sort of the process we've been using, and that's why we think it's so important to bring that information to the sector, so the sector is aware and helps make those decisions about what they want to move forward and whether or not they want to allocate all funds either to a singular project or at one meeting, meaning in March when we review it again, or if they want to hold on to funds for review later in the year.
I had one more question about the sector, like the strategies and tactics. When
Yeah.
I was looking at, maybe it was sports or Parks and Rec, just to make sure that it was in alignment, like under schools, it lists 3, but in one of the other sectors, the only thing that was showing, it said like 12, 13, 14. Is there, like it listed that as the strategy. And so I didn't know if that means there's a list of 14 strategies somewhere, but it only showed 3 on the website, but they were numbered.
Okay, I'm going to show you I'm going to share my screen. And it should bring up the KCPA plan website, and I hope this will answer your question. So on the website, it's a little slow here. We do have all the sectors listed. Now, they're not listed in alphabetical order, but they are listed in the way the strategies are numbered. So each sector has a varying number of strategies, typically from 3 to 5. What we did for ease was to number the strategies in numerical order, starting with the school sector. So I'll try not to scroll too fast here, but the school strategies are 1, 2, and 3. And then if you keep going through the plan, and this is just a quick way to identify what the strategies and tactics are on the website. The early childhood is the next sector, and it has strategies 4 through 7. So by the time you get to, let's see if I can go up to Parks and Rec really quickly. I'll just jump to Parks and Rec. So Parks and Rec has strategies 11. Let's see, 11 through 13. And then sport was just added last year, I believe. So they're going to be somewhere in the 20s.
That makes,
So in terms,
that makes sense.
does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure that makes sense, because the schools was 1, 2, 3, and I was just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing a pile of strategies
Nope.
that I needed to align with. So that's good news. Thanks.
Nope. And the reality is, you don't have to align with all of them. Typically, we're going to find that applications are aligning with one or two of the strategies, but it makes sense to implement in multiple sectors. So for example, while the Just Walk application came from the healthcare sector and we aligned just with the healthcare sector strategies, it's implemented in a park. And so it does align with the park and rec sector, but we're just sticking with the strategies for healthcare because that's our primary focus and where it got started, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. That's a great question though, Christine. I'm glad we can help clarify that. Okay, anything else related to the implementation projects and applications? Okay, Katie, I'll have you bring the agenda back up for us. Okay, so it looks like a couple of other people have joined. That's great. We can just go around and share group updates. I'm just going to let you guys unmute yourselves and share any updates that you might already have. We've already shared that we are transitioning to the Kansas City Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative. We've already introduced Natalie as the newest member of our team. So I'll turn it over to the rest of you to share any additional updates you want the group to know.
I can go ahead and unmute and explain my presence here. Hi, everyone. My name is Patrick Truba. I work at Mid-America Regional Council. I do active transportation planning. Katie told me that there would be some discussion of Bike Month today, but because I had a meeting, I think I missed most of it. But Mark does something for Bike Month too, and we're going to meet next week to talk about what we're thinking about doing, and we're happy to collaborate with this group on promoting Bike Month.
That's great. So glad you could join us. We were all talking about how we're all going to email you.
I was emailing Patrick, so I was like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
So Patrick, while you're on, so I just emailed you, but the group you're meeting with next week, what is that, just among the Mark employees, or is that the first?
Yeah, that's just internal here. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to, we can kind of do another kind of small task force like we did last year. And I was just saying, you know, since Carl's gone, I'll check with Laura at Bike Walk and see who will be taking over that. And between, you know, the three of us, really small group, or whoever wants to be in, you know, join, we can kind of carry that out and get the Bike Month stuff, you know, completed. Is Mark still okay with Amy doing the website? I guess you'll find that out next week, maybe.
Yeah, I was trying not to say too much because I don't know exactly what we're planning on doing. I think there's been some, I don't know, dissatisfaction around sort of the pattern of doing just like we buy ads that promote this website, and which in turn is supposed to lead you to different events and resources. I'm not sure we've loved that approach. So, but I mean, we might do it again for now. I just need to talk to them and see what they're thinking about.
And so Patrick, just let us know how we can help. Our primary role here is we can support the Bike Month Task Force if that's helpful for you all. But I know Mark has done a great job of sort of leading it and helping gather the information. The other thing we can do is help promote it.
Okay.
And so we'll include information in our monthly newsletter. Ideally, it would be included in the April one because it's going to be, I think, Bike to School Day is the beginning, as Joe was saying, May 3rd. So it's early in the month. So we want to promote it early enough. We can include the information in the school sector newsletter. We can put links up on our website. We can host more resources on our website. Whatever you think would be useful, we're happy to help support. This has been, I think this is like our third year. Is that right, Jill? To promote this and a little bit more heavily and broadly, and we want to keep up the momentum.
I think so. Yeah. Well, Patrick, that sounds great. In the meantime, I'll reach out to Laura just to kind of get started on the process of who might want to join. And
Oh,
then,
okay.
and since Katie's on, Katie, with, Safe Kids, of course, we always work with them and they're wonderful. So Katie will be joining with us too for Bike Month. Katie, can you think of anything else that I filled them in that we'll be partnering with Washington, in the spring, and that we're gonna have Lowrider Bike Club and a couple others join. Is there anything else you can think of that you wanted to add?
No, I would just emphasize it's an evolving process. So,
Mhm,
you know, stay tuned. But we've got a really good start on it for this year.
mhm.
Really
Yeah,
good
and
start.
if anyone wants, we have, like I said, we have the meetings set, so if anyone wants to join in, of course, or be involved, you're welcome to. Just send Katie or I an email, but we've already got those meetings, February 21st and April. Oh, Katie, what's the April one? Anyway, we'll get to it, but so just let me know and we can send you those links to.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Great. Any other updates the group would like to share? Well, if not, we do want to bring up the idea of future meetings and just make sure that we have the right day and time that fits with the majority of people's schedules for participation. We've typically met the fourth Thursday of the month. We can certainly keep that day of the week and day of the month as well, or week of the month, I should say. We're really interested in trying to figure out, is this the best time for the group to meet? Do you feel like an hour is enough? Should we meet a little bit longer? Should we change the format of the meetings? Is there any other feedback you'd like to give us about the meetings?
I was just thinking, and I know, we may need to accommodate for the teachers. I mean, if we could meet any earlier in the day, that's better for me, but Christine, what are your thoughts on that? Do you need to do the 3:30 time or? Oh. I think you're on
Sorry.
mute. Can you say
I
that
could-
again? Sorry.
Yeah. I probably need to send out a survey to the teachers because honestly, if they're not going to come either way, then I don't want to extend it just this time in the hopes that we were trying to include them. I feel like coming out of COVID, the last year and this year, everyone's just seems like everyone's got a lot on their plate. And so, so I can follow up on that. Personally, this time does work because this piece of partnership is basically not allowed to be put in my work day. So I'm not sure how it would look for me to attend. I don't know, probably didn't say that the right way, but it's not that I can't, I would just need to figure out a way around it. So if you guys feel like it has better attendance from different pieces from the city, I say move it and I can try to find a way to make it work. And in the meantime, I can also try to get some input from teachers. I just think that they're overloaded.
That's not surprising, Christine, especially it's not just education right now. My daughter's a teacher and it's, health, how do you mitigate all the health challenges? How do you make sure your classroom is safe for your education, and the requirements of different schools are different, and it can be challenging and overwhelming. And then you've got a family and then life, all the other things. So
if you feel like the group, if there were more people involved in the past, then I'm totally open to shifting it to a time that we can get more involvement from across the city.
We could try to go back and take a look at that, Christine. I'm not sure that, I think we used to have it at 3 o'clock, is that right? Or maybe 2:30. I'm not sure we had a lot higher participation. I don't know. We can take a look at that and see if there's any real difference.
I thought of one, I haven't been super connected to it, but just one good thing to share from what some things happening because KU Med is in KCK and they're really close to an elementary school. Somehow there was a partnership and they were able to bring in a set of Strider bikes for kindergarten and first grade. And then they got to try it out last year. And then 3 more schools, I believe, are in the works. I'm going to get to go help put together bikes, little Strider bikes tomorrow at another school. So that's just super fun to see K1 getting on bikes and KU just really reaching out to the schools that they're close to.
That's exciting. I've heard they had a pretty robust Earn a Bike program too. Is that still true?
Oh, for KU Med? Or,
Yeah, and maybe it was just maybe it was drop off your old bikes, they would refurbish them and then use them as part of their bike fleet to earn a bike. I'm not sure.
oh, I don't know.
Well, and a lot's happened since the last time I heard about that, including a pandemic. Okay, well, so for right now, I think what we'll plan to do is keep the sector meeting date on the 4th Thursday of the month. Look for, if you'll just hold some time in the afternoon, that would be great. I would recommend 3 to 4:30, and then we'll provide some additional, well, actually, we'll look at past meetings to see if attendance has been any different based on the time of the meeting. And we will probably go ahead and just set the next sector meeting time. We can always revisit the time at any future meetings, but we want to make sure we get a date in the calendar and a time so that people can register to attend that meeting as soon as possible. What we will also do at that meeting, if you're all okay with it, we've been starting to hear from multiple sectors that having access to resources that are beneficial for the sector would be helpful. We have met with our website team to identify what our options are on the KC Physical Activity Plan website to be able to house resources. We've come up with a way that will work. What our next step would be is identifying what resources would be most useful for us to include. Are there I'm trying to think of the right word, but like topics that we want to include resources under, or audience that we want to include resources for? For example, are we targeting teachers and we want brain break types of things? Are we targeting schools and there we'd want policy information? Or what are the types of resources that would be most beneficial for this group? And how do we begin collecting those resources and including them on our website? So we're open. We have a few more minutes today. I'm open to hearing your feedback right now. In fact, Katie may be able to sign in to the back end of our website to show you what we're thinking of. And as we get resource ideas from you all, we can certainly upload them and change them over time. What we're currently thinking, because our website doesn't support plugins that allow you to sort or filter resources, we're thinking we'd have each sector listed separately. And while it's not shown in this model, the way the sectors would be set up is you would just see each of the different sectors, and there would be a drop-down menu. And under that drop-down menu, once you click it, then you would see the resources that are housed under each of those different sectors. That would make it easier for you to go straight to a sector without having to scroll through 20 or 30 or 50 resources under the different sectors. So the resource, we would come up with what we hope would be a very descriptive title that might be shorter and or more descriptive than what's already included from the resource. And then we'd have a button for you to click on or a link to use to go straight to that resource. So what you can see under the Parks and Rec sector, one should take you to a website, and the one, actually the toolkit takes you to a website as well. Most toolkits are a PDF, but that's what we're finding that people want for resources. It's either a link to a website or a link to a PDF. We can do either one. You can see one's identified as a toolkit, one's identified is really more of just the website. Thoughts on how this is set up? Thoughts on any type of organizational arrangement that you think would be helpful? Does this seem reasonable so far? This would be a standalone page. So on our website, we have, these resources would not be included on the sector pages, if that makes sense. You just go right to like a tab called resources. So you see how at the top here, we've got learn more or sectors or join us. The resources would be something separate. And we haven't figured out, let's see, I don't know where it's organized right now. Can you tell, Katie?
This is just a mock-up page, so it's not
Okay.
located in any specific area until we move it. Yeah.
So we could decide to put it under learn more, where it might make the most sense. So if you hovered over the learn more tab, it would bring all of the, you can see it would bring the different things underneath there. So we might put resources down at the bottom. You click on that, it'd bring you to this page, and then you could go to the different sectors. And again, we can try some things and see what works. If you'll scroll down to schools, Katie, I can't remember what we've already included. Oh, nothing yet?
No, there's nothing on schools, but
Okay. We were just doing a mock-up, so we didn't share very many resources just in case we didn't like the mock-up. And I don't remember, I feel like we started to collect some resources for schools. And Katie, maybe you have that. I wasn't thinking we'd have time to bring that up today, but since we do.
yeah, give me a second. I'm gonna stop sharing my screens.
Okay.
But if we want, I can also always share it, kind of like Natalie had in a Google Doc.
Yeah. So one of the things we are trying not to do is pull another organization's, all of their resources onto our website. And we realize that we're driving people to other websites, but that's okay, because that's our purpose. We are here to connect. That's one of the purposes of the Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative, is to connect. And so we're not tied to how many times you spent, how many clicks you have on our website or how many pages you visit or any of those sorts of things. We want it to be easier for people to find what you're looking for quickly. So we have no problem connecting to other resources. So for example, is it Action for Healthy Kids? No, I'm forgetting. It's a national resource for schools, school wellness policies, best practices, all those sorts of things. We're happy to just connect to that resource and then people can go look through that. We don't need the 100 resources they have separate on our website, if that makes sense. But if you know of things that would be really useful to have in one spot for you to find or direct others to find, please let us know and we're happy to add those to our list of what we're including here. Okay. Great. The last thing I'll share is we'll send a newsletter update next week. And we'll include some of this additional information in there. We also have a survey that we're asking for your feedback. Please take just a few minutes. It shouldn't take any more than 5 minutes, maybe 10 if you're typing out some additional feedback for us to consider. But it's a really short survey. We haven't done this in over a year. So we really just love to know what you think is going well and what we can do to advance our efforts. Okay. Anything else for the good of the cause? Okay, great to see you all today. Happy 2023, even though now we're at the end of the first month. Crazy. All right, great to see you all. Have a great weekend.
Hi. Thank you.